welcome to the opening week of baseball, presented by Burger King. From Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, final game of a 3-game series with the rival Chicago Cubs here this afternoon. And today we'll be celebrating the career and the legacy of number 42, the great Jackie Robinson. So glad you've joined us. Rick Horton alongside Al Raboski. And Al, let's start with your thoughts on Jackie Robinson.
Well, baseball was looking for someone to break the color barrier. Branch Rickey selected Jackie Robinson. He was a collegiate. He also was a military officer. He had to be extremely tough mentally to do what he did, and he went on to become the Rookie of the Year in 1947. But what he did for our country in breaking the color barrier is legendary.
We will have baseball coming right up, but we're also going to have more on number 42, Jackie Robinson.
Jake Westbrook looking to move to 2-0 after a nice start at Cincinnati. He had a little trouble with the walks earlier in that game. He walked 4 in the first 2 innings. A slick baseball was the culprit. But Jake is off to a good start. He's lost 20 pounds. He and Mike Matheny are getting ready for baseball right here from Busch.
The reigning champs have raised their banner. They've gotten their rings. And they've tied their series with the Cubs at 1 apiece. Today, they'll go for a series win. Cubs and Cardinals, coming up only on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by a reminder from Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Designate a driver. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Big celebration this weekend began on Friday, opening day. Big crowds, the Hall of Famers present, Al, and really a spectacular celebration of Cardinal baseball.
Talking to several of the players, both Cubs and Cardinals, nobody has an opening day like the Redbirds do. It is by far the best spectacle in baseball.
And yesterday was the ring ceremony. One more chance to honor the Cardinal championship of 2011. Ready for action, Jake Westbrook looking for his second victory of the 2011 season. And he will face Reed Johnson, Blake DeWitt, and Starlin Castro in the Cubs first. And we are underway.
Jake pitched very well in his assignment at Cincinnati. In 7 innings, he allowed 1 run. That was an unearned run by his error. The only time he got in a little trouble was early with walks. Felt like at that time it was a very slick baseball. Veteran Dyer Miller said, okay, get a little moisture on the bill of your cap, and that'll take care of it. Kind of got that little tackiness as the balls weren't rubbed up as well as they should have been.
Always nice to ask a veteran what to do with a baseball.
Yeah.
Reed Johnson, the former Blue Jay, hit .309 last year for the Cubs. Off to a slow start here in April. The 1-2 slider misses. And the control of Westbrook is something we'll be watching, as you mentioned, Al, all afternoon.
I kind of always like Reed Johnson, kind of a high energy type guy. Very good defender. Come up with some timely hits the last couple of years for the Cubs. Westbrook has so much movement on his sinker that a lot of times it'll move through the strike zone.
Runs the count full to Johnson. All players wearing number 42 today. Ground ball to the left side. That's Descalzo, and that's out #1. You've seen Johnson. Let's take a look at the rest of the Cubs batting order. Blake DeWitt from Sykeston bats second. He'll play second. Starlin Castro, big numbers early. Then Jeff Baker, Ian Stewart, Joe Mather, Giovanni Soto, Marlon Byrd, And the former Pirate Paul Maholm will pitch in bat ninth. So no Soriano, no DeJesus, and no Brian LaHare in the Cubs lineup here this afternoon.
You take Starlin Castro's numbers out of that lineup, and it's pretty weak. But you got to give him some playing time in order to get the bats and get that average up.
One and one to DeWitt. Came over from the Dodgers in the Ryan Theriot deal. And he bounces this one to second base. Tyler Green is there. He backs up and throws him out. Cardinal defense has been good early on. Westbrook, the sinker baller, will rely on these guys. Holiday, Shane Robinson, and Carlos Beltran in the outfield. Descalso, Furcal, Green, and Matt Carpenter the infield. And the catcher is all-star Yadier Molina. That's our Dobbs Cardinals defense. Shane Robinson off to a good start with the bat, and he'll be patrolling center field.
Well, last Sunday for Mike Matheny, he had that big 3-hit day, including his first major league home run. Shane Robinson. Castro off to a great start. Only 22 now, and last season he had the most hits in the National League, 207. Off to the good start, but his bugaboo, his throwing errors are cropped back up. He's already got 4 errors.
Made 29 errors a year ago, second most in all of baseball, behind Mark Reynolds in the Baltimore Orioles. He's going to make some spectacular plays, though. Very gifted young player.
And well documented at times last season. It just seemed like he wasn't ready to field. Kind of bored out there, and it translated into a lot of throwing errors. Times he laid back on a ball, beat him up, but you're right, he is a special talent.
0-2 to Castro. Led to the National League in hits with 207 as a 21-year-old. Waves at a slider. First strikeout for Westbrook. Nice inning. 1, 2, 3 for call when we come back. Mike Matheny and his Cardinals are ready for the bottom of the first inning. No score. The Cubs and the Cardinals, a wonderful rivalry, and here is the Cardinals batting order. Rafael Furcal, Tyler Green, and Matt Holliday in the first, followed by Beltran, Molina, Matt Carpenter, Robinson, Descalso, and Jake Westbrook for your world champions, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Be facing Paul Maholm, who had a rough start to 2012 in his previous start. He has pitched pretty well in his career against the Cardinals. He's 4-6, but a 3.72 ERA. Last year really beat up 0-2, 6.5 ERA.
Furcal takes the first pitch low from Maholm. He has hit him well. 421 batting average against the left-hander, who we recognize more certainly as a Pirate. But we've seen him plenty of times before. Not really overpowering, as a good changeup.
At times trying to run the fastball in or the cutter in on the right-handed batters. And you mentioned Furcal's got good numbers. So does Beltran, Yadier Molina. Former #1 draft pick of the Pirates. Really never realized his potential.
Not a very complicated motion from Maholm. He just kind of turns and throws. It doesn't really get a lot of extension. Almost short arms it a bit.
Ricky, why is it a lot of left-handers short arm it?
That's a good question. Trying to be tricky.
I don't have the answer.
I thought you had all the answers, Al. Check swing does not go, says the first base umpire Jerry Davis. He's the crew chief here this afternoon. So full count, 2 for call.
There's Jerry, a former St. Louisan, but now makes his home in Wisconsin.
Was it something we said?
Had to be a long time ago.
As A little liner handled by Baker, the first baseman, out number 1. Cubs really struggled defensively last year. This year, Mather, Bird, and Johnson are in the outfield. Stewart, Castro, DeWitt, and Baker on the infield. And Mahalam and Soto are Dobbs' Cubs defense. And there's the former Cardinal, Joe Mather.
Yeah, one of our favorites. Just a wonderful young man, but boy, he was snake bitten as a Cardinal. About three years of wrist surgeries. Finally recovered. He had a good spring for the Cubs, and we wish him nothing but the best.
Give him credit for going back to the minor leagues and having a big year, and didn't sulk about it. Just went on and hit .321 in AAA last year, so made himself a commodity again. Tyler Green chases a pitch up in the zone, 0-2. Tyler Green was named, Al, the Cardinals' regular second baseman in spring training and all offseason, and we haven't seen him very much.
Yeah, it was one of those scenarios where Descalzo was going to be the super sub, but kind of won that job. I think when it's all said and done, they'll all get playing time.
Big key for Tyler Green is to cut down on the strikeouts. Runs well. Just can't steal first.
You can see the way he stands there in the batter's box. You know, he does have some pop in his bat. The ball has jumped off it. Remember one time he did hit one up in Big Macland here at this ballpark. But holds those hands high, makes it kind of a long swing.
The 2-2 to Green. Check swing. Did he go? Yes. There's that strikeout for Green we talked about. And it's time to look at our Toyota keys to the game. Career numbers. We've talked about it some, Al. Career numbers against Paul Mahalam.
Well, you see what Rafael Furcal and Beltran have done, but Holiday's only 3 for 24. But of those 3 hits, 2 of them have left the ballpark. So plenty of offense. Another day of rest for a couple guys. Berkman is feeling much better, but he could pinch hit today, but probably look for him back in the lineup on Tuesday. And hopefully that'll be the same for Freese.
And no John Jay and no David Freese here this afternoon.
Shane Robinson every Sunday plays and gets 3 hits. You know,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and John Jay was 1 for 8 against this right-hander, so give him a day off. Something he didn't do much of last year. Excuse me, the left-hander.
High strike. Holiday doesn't like the call.
It's one of the things Mahalam likes to live up. And unless you get that ball inside or are fool hitters, that means fly balls, and fly balls have a tendency to leave the ballpark.
Ball hit to right. Go back. Johnson up to the warning track. Holiday's retired. No score. Cubs and the Cardinals, and we're celebrating Jackie Robinson Day. 65th anniversary of Jackie breaking the color line in 1947. All players wearing number 42 here this afternoon. Jake Westbrook on the mound for St. Louis, and it's strike 1 to Jeff Baker. Baker batting in the cleanup spot. He is a veteran. Been around as a serviceable bench player with Colorado. Now with Chicago.
460 major league games coming into this season. Originally property of the Rockies.
He's in the World Series with the Rockies. Always nice to have players with that kind of experience on your bench that have been there. In fact, Dale Swaim had all of his team on the top step during the World Championship celebrations because he wanted his players to see what it was like to get that ring and to have that moment. For call to his left. Throws out Baker.
Yeah, I applaud Dale Swain, the manager, for that.
One more look at that pitch. There's the sinker.
Yeah, just bottom fall of it, or Chevy Fox tracks. Nice play to Ralphie's left. Reaches down, pulls it up. So far, so good.
You get the
4
sense,
batters, 3 ground balls, and a strikeout.
it's his job. You get the sense, Al, that Furcal is sometimes better when he has to go a long way to get a ball.
Yeah, because your action. You don't have the time to think about it. You just have to react.
Fly ball to left. Holiday on the move, and he runs it down. First out in the air here in the second. Well, the Cubs are trying to replace some of their leaders from a year ago. Pena led them in home runs, Ramirez in RBIs, Marshall in ERA, and Zambrano in headaches, Al.
Well, Sean Marshall, in some ways, shouldn't be on that list because he had a super year.
Sure did.
But the other guys, and Pena had the home runs, but a ton of strikeouts, low batting average. You've got they've got a real star in the making at the AAA waiting for him. And Laher, who we saw in the first 2 games, get his first grand slam on Friday. Zambrano, we all know he led in headaches, that's for sure. And of his $18 million salary, the Cubs are paying $15 million of it. That shows you how quickly or how badly they wanted to get rid of him.
Theo Epstein is the new general manager for the Cubs, and that's going to be something he's going to have to overcome.
Another 5-year plan.
Ground ball to left side. Descalzo is so good. Another ground ball for Westbrook. He is making it look easy. Hunter Family Sundays are back for 2012 and better than ever. The next Family Sunday is April 29th. The Cardinals will be hosting the Brewers. All fans purchasing individual tickets and select seats will receive a Hunter hot dog and a Coca-Cola. Get your Hunter Family Sunday tickets at cardinals.com/values. Cardinals have played the Cubs very well here in St. Louis since 2000, winning 62 and dropping just 39. And it's strike 1 to Carlos Beltran, underway here in the bottom of the second. Still looking for the game's first hit. Beltran off to a good start.
Hitting 300 for the switch hitter, 429 from the right side. And another one of these shifts. Shifting in the outfield and even shading him to pull in the outfield, but the infield, look at 3 infielders on the left side of second base.
Baker is an experienced player, but not necessarily an experienced first baseman. And Al, you'd think that there would be some danger in him getting over to first on time, playing that far off the bag.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of feel out there in no man's land. You got to know where that second baseman is. So I'm just not sure I agree with all these different shifts.
The Cubs have a different philosophy under Dale Swain. One thing he doesn't believe in, there's the shift, is guarding the line. There's the 3 infielders on the left side, only Baker on the right. A little lonely over there. It looks like it hit Beltran. And he'll take first base.
I got him in the hand, and you always cringe a little bit when that happens.
Mike Matheny looking on. First-year manager for St. Louis. Our Plaza Tire Foxmo.
I got him more in the forearm. Then it ricocheted and hit him in the body.
Mike Matheny has said that he wants to run a little bit more than the Cardinals have in the past. You need to have speed on the bases to do that. Beltran used to be a blazer. We saw him run some in spring training. And Molina would be a prime candidate for a hit and run.
Now the knees are not as young as they once were.
Watch out.
Almost gets Yachty.
That's that cut fastball in
Yeah.
you're talking about.
He likes to throw it a lot, but a lot of times he'll leave it in the middle of the plate and get hurt.
Cubs also don't believe in double play depth. You see Castro not shading towards the second base bag. They believe they'd rather take that hole away between short and third.
Well, they can. With Yachty, you could still play back, but with others, they'll probably win some and get burned other times.
Dale Swaim in his first year in managing, and so is Mike Matheny.
I was talking to Jamie Quirk, our buddy, who is the bench coach for Dale and the Cubs, and he was saying, nope, nothing's tricked these guys yet.
The 2-0 to Molina. High ball 3. So Mulholland having trouble throwing strikes after hitting Carlos Beltran.
A lot of general managers take the philosophy that one of the most important things for a manager is not running a game. It's handling the media.
Hit and run count here. Oquendo flashes the signs to Molina and the runner Beltran. Open stance for Yachty. There goes the runner, and the pitch is low, ball 4. Couple of base runners for the Cardinals here in the second inning against Mulholland. And that brings in Matt Carpenter, who swung the bat very well in the early going after a nice spring training.
Yachty walks. At first and second, nobody out. Carpenter. He's got a 3-game hitting streak. 4 for 12 on the homestand. He's 3 for 8 with a couple RBIs. Really driving the ball, you know. He used to have that high on base percentage, but he used to just flare the ball. Now he's driving the ball.
And what we've seen so far of Carpenter is he stands in pretty well against a left-hander too, and he seems to be quite a hustler.
Oh, Cardinals loved what they saw from him, but you're right, he'll be a sprint on and off the field.
By the way, you better hustle on Jackie Robinson Day. No excuse not to. There's a ground ball up the middle, and it's a base hit. Finds a hole. The Cardinals are going to jump on top. 1-0 base hit. And an RBI for Matt Carpenter.
Already Matt's 6th RBI of the season. And he's just having a little fun out there. Couple men on, just hit this ball hard up the middle. Blake DeWitt really didn't get anywhere close to it. Beltran will score easy from second base. Yachty does a nice job getting himself all the way over to third.
Brings in Shane Robinson off to a torrid pace. 5 for 9 in limited action. Made this team out of spring training because of the way he can swing the bat. Very good outfielder as well.
Attempt to at first, but Shane hit a 3-run home run, going 3 for 3 in his first start of the year last Sunday. But he also has another RBI, so he's got 4. Skip Schumacher going out on assignment. His 20-day clock will start probably today or tomorrow. I'm not sure when he'll get there. And then Alan Craig was telling me the other day, probably by the time this homestand is up, he'll probably go out. So very important for Shane Robinson and Komatsu and guys on Carpenter, guys on the bubble, to show Mike Matheny that they want to stay here and keep a job.
Holland delivers a high strike. Mentioned he likes to pitch up in the zone. Really needs a ground ball here. Robinson runs well. Was involved in a terrible collision in the outfield last year. Many thought that it would be a A long road to get him back on the playing field, but he was able to come back and contribute last year and really had a horrific collision in AAA.
Fractured the orbital bone and some facial fractures, but Cardinals rewarded him, brought him up last season. He's been up the last couple of years and getting a little audition, but this year making the team out of spring training.
RBI spot for Robinson. Molina and Carpenter the runners. First to first is Paul Mahala.
Talk about how Mahomes likes to pitch the ball up. That's very conducive to a sac fly.
That would work. Ground ball to short. Castro a little trouble getting it out of his hands, also at second, and that's going to make Robinson safe at first base and give him an RBI.
That little double clutch by Starlin Castro allowed Carpenter to get on top of Blake DeWitt. Didn't get much on the throw, and contact with Carpenter come down. There, see that double clutch there? Now Carpenter can kind of go after Blake DeWitt and just don't get much of the throw with that guy coming down on you. And it's enough for Shane Robinson to be safe at first, and the Cardinals another run.
That play there doesn't show up in the normal defensive stats, but certainly an important one for the Cardinals. They still have something going here in the second. Another move to first.
You're right, Rick, because that was a sure double play, but you only get the lead man's. We saw an awful lot of that last year by the Cardinals.
Now Mahalan has 2 more outs to get, plus he has to pitch under stress. Robinson a threat to steal. He has a big lead. Descalzo at the plate. And Mahalan is liking to play catch with Jeff Baker.
Confident hitter in the batter's box thinks, well, he's afraid to throw a pitch to me. Castro looks like he's disinterested.
Quick pitch is high.
Very, that happens a lot, Rick. You saw the quick pitch there. You had the runner, Shane Robinson, going back to the bag, but you just don't have the same command. And many times you'll leave the ball up, and either it's a careless pitch or it's a ball. Just trying to be that quick pitch.
Two and 0. Cubs, like all teams in spring training, said this year we're going to do better at the fundamentals. We're not going to walk as many batters. They were terrible in that department. And we're not going to make as many errors. Sometimes, Al, it's just a matter of execution and ability once the season starts. And Dale Swaim's trying to get his guys to play the game properly. He actually learned a lot about the game of baseball when he played for Tony La Russa in Oakland. And he credits Tony with teaching him about the game in the season he spent there. 12-year big league career for Swaim. And he's been a coach at the big league level for 11. So first year managing, but he knows his business.
Sure. Managing is about making decisions, and then it's the execution of the players. Determines whether it's good or bad.
Another nice crowd here this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-70s.
And it looks like it's already cooled down. This is what we're talking about. Starlin Castro just looks like he's absolutely bored in the field.
Bunt attempt, but foul.
The Cardinals have committed 3 errors as a team, 2 of them by pitchers. So 1 position player error. The Cubs have 7 already, and Castro has 4.
Watch him as he gets set. Now he's ready.
You hate to pick up this young man, pick on him, but they have set him down. They've talked to him. They've benched him. It just doesn't look like he wants to play, does he?
Ground ball to the right side. He's going to get a chance to play here. And again, trouble turning the double play. This time it was DeWitt who couldn't get it out of his glove.
I think they're both taking turns trying to get the other guy hurt.
Right.
Right there. And then you took a long time for it to get the grip and exchange. That allows Shane Robinson to get on top of the fielder. And there you see just nice, clean, hard baseball, but he couldn't complete the throw and get the double play.
And the Cubs not able to turn those double plays allows Jake Westbrook a chance to hit here in the second inning, which also turns your batting order over for the top of the third.
Jake had 10 RBIs last season. Got 4 of them on one swing of the bat in Milwaukee. 1 home run was a grand slam.
Not really thinking there's a silver slugger in his future.
No, I don't. I think he'd be the first to tell you that.
Well, the key with pitchers batting is to always get a nice short swing, put the bat on the ball, and just hope something good happens. Unless you're Bob Gibson. Bob Force.
Donnie Robinson.
Mahalam strikes out Westbrook. Carpenter with an RBI. 2-0 Cardinals. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. Love bacon? Try the new BLT cheeseburger combo right now at Jack in the Box for just $4.99 plus tax. And by the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. 2-0 Cardinals, top of the third. Rain has held off so far this afternoon. We're glad you're with us. Rick Horton with Al Raboski, joined by Jim Hayes here in the third. And Jake Westbrook has looked sharp so far, Al.
Well, I think if he was pitching for both teams, we'd already have a regulation game.
Mahalam's thrown as many pitches to first as Jake has thrown home.
With the bad forecast, Jake is doing his part, but Mahalam is he's in the 4 corners.
Do you think there's any link between a guy losing 20 pounds like Westbrook and his mechanics improving? Maybe angles are better for Jake?
I think it's oversimplification, but obviously it's got to help.
He certainly is back to getting ground balls.
Yes. And throwing strikes. I mean, last year he just was so hard to figure out because he led the National League in ground balls, but many of them went through. Where our defense is better this year.
Working quickly, misses low.
That keeps the defense on their toes.
Soto, all-star catcher, his first year in the big leagues, works to count to 3-2. And Jim, I want to ask you about a former Cardinal player that I saw in the hallway here before the game as we wait the 3-2 pitch. Ryan Franklin, former Cardinal closer, is here at the ballpark.
Well, he's a member of the Cardinal staff now. He's a special assistant. That ball is fouled off. He will do a number of things, including some teaching. He'll go around and teach some of the minor leaguers what he knows. Also some scouting of our own prospects, of the Cardinals prospects. And he's kind of getting his feet wet in the front office too.
Another ground ball for Westbrook. Soto is retired. Well, we were excited about the Blues last night. Blues playoffs continue tomorrow night. Live coverage of the game starts at 8:30 with Blues Live, and you'll find the game right here on Fox Sports Midwest at 9 p.m. The Blues and the Sharks tomorrow night on Fox Sports Midwest. Wow, was that good TV last night.
A lot of rough stuff in there.
I like the 4th period.
Yeah, that's right. The TKOs. It was fun. Congratulations to the
buzzer,
Blues.
and then the action continued.
It sure did.
Now, Ricky, you do not have your postseason beard.
No, but I understand from
Cardinals.
listening to Pat and you guys talk about it in the pregame, and Chris Duncan, nice to have him along on the team and talk about the beard. Maybe we should start doing that. Be a little harder for me than Al. Al's kind of the veteran.
Well, they were referencing that Lance Lynn had his, but I think Lance had his last year as well in preparation of a great regular season for the Blues, then the run into the postseason.
They've been fun to watch. Chris Carpenter, I know, was at the Blues game last night, cheering him on.
Freeze. David has that, as you guys were referencing, the irritated finger on his right hand.
There's a weak swing from Marlon Byrd, who just does not look right. He's off to a rough start, 0-71. 2-2 the count to the Cubs center fielder.
He got a hit on Friday, but that broke an 0 for 20.
This looks very defensive at the plate. Another former All-Star on this Cub team.
What we're alluding to is last season he got hit in the face, and you know it's only natural you get a little gun shy, and it takes some guys a little longer to recover.
Ground ball to the left side, ranging far to his left is Descalzo, and he can't come up with it. Got to the ball, couldn't make the play. Not sure whether Furcal could have thrown him out.
As it turned out, we'd like to see if Furcal could have thrown him out, but Molina's set up away, stays inside, or just ran inside, and Marlon Byrd gets a slow start because it was a jam shot. Third baseman has a responsibility to get everything he can to his left, and just kind of rolled up the top of his glove and tried to stay with it, but ruled an infield single.
Bunt situation for Paul Maholm. Descalzo in on the grass at third. And there goes the runner. Pitches away. Here's a throw from Molina. He is out at second base.
Thank you. Don't forget who's behind the plate. It's not the Gold Glove, it's the Platinum winner.
Not even close.
Takes off, he looks in, and even though it was a high throw, still Alfie had plenty of time to gather it in and pull down the tag.
Changes the complexion of this inning quite a bit. Maholm now has to swing with 2 outs, nobody aboard. We mentioned Ryan Franklin, Jim, and we talked about some of the Cardinal injuries. One of the other guys in the Cardinal bullpen, speaking of veteran relievers, Scott Linebrink's also on the disabled list.
Yeah, he had a great spring. Throwing the ball now, just playing light catch. You're going to watch him. Hopefully he can be back sooner than later.
Another ground ball for Westbrook. Molina guns down Byrd. Take the Cardinals on the road with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium today to see every Cardinals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Cardinals.com to order, or for more details, MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. 2-0 Redbirds. Bottom of the third inning, Jake Westbrook off to a good start, looking for his second victory of the year. All players wearing number 42 here this afternoon to honor Jackie Robinson. 65 years ago, broke the color line, and baseball has been celebrating since 1997, Jackie Robinson Day, with all players wearing number 42 on their back. And top of the order for the Cardinals in the third for Call, Green, and Holiday.
I was talking to some of the younger players about Jackie Robinson, and the thing that they said they're just amazed about, not only that he changed the complexion of baseball, but they said big league baseball is so hard, and the grind of it, little nagging injuries. I mean, Jackie played through death threats, right, and was still able to perform at a high level. They said that's unthinkable.
Ground ball to left side. There's a base hit inside the line. Could be two. For Call, round first, headed for second. He is safe at second base.
Great effort by Joe Mather. She picked that ball up barehanded, Flat-footed, got a quick throw back in, accurate throw, but for Call hustling all the way, he gets the hustling double.
And the Cubs' philosophy of playing off the line doesn't work this time.
Nope, right down here. Watch Mather come into your picture. As he picked it up, Ralphie was running hard all the way. Close play, but his foot got there just ahead of the tag.
Very close play and a good call by Greg Gibson. For Call now the runner at second base. Tyler Green, his job, move him over. Hit the ball to the right side. Or bunt him over. Unsuccessfully as he pops it up to the third baseman, Stewart. Not a bad idea, but not very good execution.
Yeah, and I think in many ways we would prefer it if he would have pushed it to the right side. But once it hung up in the air, Stewart came in, was alert, made the play.
Matt Holliday had an outstanding spring training, off to a bit of a slow start here in April. We've mentioned his numbers against Mahalam. The average not good, but when he does get a hit, it's usually a long one.
3 for 25 with 2 of those 3 hits being home runs.
You'd love to have for Call at third base, wouldn't you?
Sure would.
One of those little things. And Jim, you're talking about the players, talking about Jackie Robinson, and you could tell from the interview you did with Jaime Garcia that, you know, it isn't just African-American players. Jackie did a lot more than that. Big swing by Holliday. Really opened the door for a lot of players from outside the U.S., Latin players and other countries, Asian players, to play Major League Baseball.
I mean, that door was closed and he opened it, and then it's now open wider for everyone. And the game is such an international game, and everyone's included.
And think about this, that Jackie Robinson wasn't the best player in the Negro Leagues. There were better players. They were older, like Josh Gibson or Satchel Paige, but they had to pick the right individual that was so strong mentally that could handle, you know, the things that are just unthinkable.
Base hit to right for Holliday. For Call, rounds third. Oquendo sends him. We may have a play at the plate, and he's safe. RBI, Matt Holliday.
All said and done, you know, Matt Holliday is going to put big numbers. And you always love the aggressive decision making by Jose Oquendo at third base. Ball stays up, kind of just pushes it to the right side. See how far off the line. Reed Johnson, the right fielder out there. The best thing he did is he kept the throw low enough that it didn't allow Holliday to take second base, but it wasn't strong enough to get for Call.
Beltran was hit by a pitch and later scored in the second inning. And again, that big hole on the right side for the Cardinal right fielder.
We were talking about the death threats that Jackie Robinson got. Well, I can remember Hank Aaron when he broke Babe Ruth's record. You know, that was 74, if I'm not mistaken. But the death threats that Hank Aaron was receiving at that time. So we made a lot of strides in race relations, but there's still a long way to go.
Mahalam is set. Holliday the runner at first. Big swing by Beltran. And you talked, Al, about how there were very, very good players in the Negro League. Maybe Jackie Robinson wasn't the best. He certainly had the right attitude, but he became an outstanding player in the major leagues.
No, you know,
MVP in 1949, was the Rookie of the Year, part of the '55 World Championship Dodgers, and he had an outstanding Hall of Fame career.
Oh no, yeah, don't misunderstand that part.
But how good
he was much younger than the others.
But how good would Josh Gibson have been?
Oh, we'd love to, you know, see what he could do when he'd compete with the, you know, the best at that time. But Jackie was also went to UCLA, also was a military officer, so he had a lot of the attributes that Branch Rickey felt that he had strong enough, tough enough mentally that he could handle all the criticism and everything else.
There's that wonderful quote from Branch Rickey when Jackie asked him if he was looking for a player who's not afraid to fight back, and he said, Robinson, I'm looking for a ball player with guts enough not to fight back.
Exactly. Where maybe that was the difference maker. And some of the others.
Fly ball to center. He got jammed a bit. This ball may drop, and it does. Well, a big swing from Beltran results in a bloop hit to left field and another base runner for the Cardinals.
Marlon Byrd has his head down. That's Joe Mather, the left fielder. But this ball is more towards center field. He didn't get a good jump. Like Marlon Byrd, the center fielder, broke back, but Joe Mather gives a great effort. And that ball really, you have to believe, is a center fielder, and it might have been uncatchable.
So 3 hits in the inning for St. Louis. They now have 4. They lead the Cubs 3-0, and Yadier Molina with a chance to tack on. Big swing comes up empty.
You guys talk about Josh Gibson. How about Satchel Paige? I know he eventually made it, but different pitcher, way up in years when he broke into the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really knew how old Satchel Paige was when he broke in.
Mahalam has been very busy with all the base runners.
And when, at one time, when the Cardinals AAA affiliate was in Tulsa, A. Ray Smith, the owner of that franchise, had Satchel Paige on his payroll, and the team was managed by Warren Spahn. How about those two pitchers put together? 363, still the most ever by a left-handed pitcher for Spahn, and I don't know how many we talk about when you think about Satchel Paige at his Negro League numbers.
We'll never know. The 1-2 to Molina. Low. And the pitch count mounting for Paul Mahalam.
And I had conversations with Bob Feller that, you know, in the wintertime, the barnstorming that they used to do, that Bob Feller said, you know, he'd have a team of all-stars, and Satchel Paige would have a team of all-stars, and Feller said we'd actually make more money doing that than we would in our salary for the season.
Full count to Molina. 2 Cardinals aboard. Holiday the runner at second. Beltran the runner at first. And a potential running situation here for Molina to stay out of the double play. Cubs have had trouble turning double plays here this afternoon.
Yachty makes solid contact, hard to strike out. So
there they go. For more information on Jackie Robinson, 47 Rookie of the Year, played first base his first year with the Dodgers, went on to be second baseman, third baseman, outfielder, 1949 National League MVP, 6-time All-Star. Also got into broadcasting. He wanted to own a team, wanted to manage a team. This ball's hit deep to left, and this ball is gone. Yadier Molina. 3-run shot in the third, and it's 6-0 Cardinals.
Already Yachty's third home run, high pitch. We talked about Mahalam likes to live up there, but that means fly balls, and a certain percentage of them were going to go out of the ballpark. Just had enough to sneak over the wall, and Yachty may be one of our first curtain calls. They're asking for it.
Here's another line drive. Base hit to left for Carpenter. He's 2 for 2. Molina has shown some power here early going.
Well, he's 3 home runs, 3 more RBIs. Now he's up to 10. David Freese out with that finger injury, and he has 11 to lead the ball club, and Yachty's pushing him. Talked about a guy that likes to live up in the zone. Well, he wants this ball to cut more inside, just up, out over the plate. He gets on top of it. It's definitely going to be a fly ball, and just had enough to sneak over the wall.
Tell you what, early in the season, we understand, but the Cardinals are showing that they can score runs even with some of the big bats not in the lineup. We've seen it a few times already.
No David Freese this afternoon, no Lance Berkman, no John Jay, but the Cardinals already with 6 runs on 6 hits against the lefty Mahala.
And it's just, you know, it's great because then you feel like, you know, when those guys are not in the lineup, you're still not, you know, losing much. Starting pitcher doesn't worry about that. Think about how nice it is that Lance Lynn, off to his 2-0 start, allows Carpenter to kind of relax and doesn't feel like he has to be pushed.
Lance Lynn has been very good. 2-0 ERA of 1.5.
But you know what? It doesn't surprise us. And we just saw what he did, how he handled things mentally and physically. You knew he possessed the weapons, but you just have a lot of confidence in him.
I love the interview you had with Lance Lynn in the pregame show, and
I was trying to push him a little.
I love the question, which would you rather do? And then you actually rated his answer, which I thought was riveting TV, Jim.
Well, I'm just wondering if a guy that was a starter, then was a bullpen guy in the postseason, now a starter again, if there was a preference. And he said, whatever they want me to do. And I said, good answer. Not for me, but for you, good answer. He also said something that interesting, because you see him in the postseason working a smaller stint coming out of the bullpen, and the velocity was a lot greater. And he's throwing harder now as a starter, so I thought it was a pacing thing. And he said it's just getting comfortable with getting the same movement while throwing hard. It wasn't a pacing thing before. He said he just wasn't getting the movement when he threw hard.
Cubs with another chance to turn a double play. This time it's successful as Robinson bounces out. Jim, good to have you with us here in the 3rd. And it was a big inning for the Cardinals. Yadier Molina, his 3rd home run of the season. Cardinals pick up 4 more. They lead 6-0 through 3. Cardinals with a big 3rd inning, 4 runs, and they now lead 6-0 over the Cubbies, trying to win this series. After losing the opener on Friday with a rain delay and then winning game 2 with a rain delay. So far the rain has held off. The wind has picked up a bit. The temperatures have cooled a bit. Almost feel like it's coming, Al, but so far so good for St. Louis. Ball in the air down the right field line. Long run for everybody and too far to go. 3 number 42s can't make the play. Whose ball is that, Al?
The Bermuda Triangle. Carpenter really didn't look that comfortable at all. It's a different angle than he's accustomed to for going from normal position at 3rd base, tippy-toeing a little bit, but we didn't want to see a fly ball out. We wanted to see a ground ball out.
We've only seen 1 out through the air. That was Ian Stewart in the 2nd. Jake Westbrook has been down in the zone. The sinker's working. And he's working quickly. 0-2. Grounded foul. Reed Johnson, the batter.
And you see what he's done today. 1 strikeout, the 6 ground ball outs, 1 fly ball. He's faced 9 batters, 1 reach with the base hit, and he was erased, caught stealing.
Slider hangs up a bit, and it's a base hit to left field. That's the 2nd hit for the Cubbies. So Johnson with the Cubs' 2nd hit. It's time for our carsoup.com email the booth. We're inviting you, if you have a question, to send it our way. carsoup.com/Cardinals. Strike at the knees to Blake DeWitt. Here's where the sinker comes in handy. Like to get that double play here. Cardinals do play at double play depth. Big swing, strike two.
Just like the way Westbrook is throwing. You know, the veteran, last year he had problems, you know, too many walks, but you can tell it's a little different attitude this year, and I'm kind of expecting a pretty darn good season from him.
Johnson not much of a base stealing threat. David DeJesus, the normal leadoff batter for the Cubs, with an off day today. Brian LaHare also not playing. Darwin Barney, the second baseman. Soriano, the left fielder. So the B lineup for the Cubs. And the pitch is a base hit to left for DeWitt. Just stuck his bat out, found a hole. So, as we like to say, Al, good piece of hitting.
Yeah, and Blake DeWitt's been a pretty good hitter. A guy coming off the bench. You see, just a good piece of hitting. He just had two strikes, had to protect the plate, had a very controlled swing, kind of almost like chopped down on that ball, and got a line drive out of it.
Starlin Castro has the power to change this game in a hurry. Hitting .361 on the year. That ball's in the dirt, ball one, and Molina asking for a new baseball.
Just don't understand that. When you got a sinker ball pitcher out there and the ball hits the dirt, get it back to him as quick as possible.
Well, maybe Castro asked for it. Castro's power numbers really increased last year. Westbrook set. And there's a line drive right to the shortstop. Close play, safe at second base. Bang, bang play there. As the runner Johnson wasn't sure which way to go. Soft liner handled by Furcal and almost a double play.
See that base runner, you know, you're always trying to take a real good lead. Boy, that could have gone either way, couldn't it? Did get back safely, but you know, you're always thinking about scoring, try to get that good jump, and then a line drive, and you get yourself doubled off. So nice job by Reed Johnson.
Baker bounced out to Furcal in his first plate appearance. Former star from Clemson University. Baker, Al, like a lot of these Cub players, not exactly a youngster. He's 30 years old, but you look at their outfield. The age of Soriano, 35. DeJesus, 33. Marlon Byrd, 34. This is not a young outfield and a young bench for the Cubs.
And it's interesting because we're kind of in a rebuilding phase. What are these guys with age? What are they going to be doing? It almost seems like you'd rather see younger players.
Strike at the knees. Good pitch by Westbrook.
Of course, you don't want to show anybody too soon and have them get up there and be overwhelmed, but
well, kind of at the knees.
You know, Westbrook will get the benefit of those because he throws so many strikes.
We'll call it at the bottom of the knees. The 2-2. There's a ground ball to short. Furcal takes it himself, and he's safe at first base as the throw pulls Carpenter off the bag. A high throw from Furcal. The throw was there in plenty of time, but again a double play that's not termed. This time it's the Cardinals.
Did the high throw, and his toe comes off, try to get the heel back down. Jerry Davis sees that he's off the bag, and Baker touches it right before he gets the heel back down.
Such a hard call for an umpire to make because he has to look high and low at the same time.
And watch that, and you listen for the sound of the foot hitting the bat.
Slider misses to Ian Stewart. Stewart with a rough year last year. Colorado Rockies gave up on him after he had really a breakout year for them in 2009. This really hasn't been the same since. He had 25 homers, had 70 RBIs, including some very good at-bats and games against the Cardinals. But last year, just 156. Hamstring injury, wrist problem, on the disabled list all year. They sent him back to AAA, and he's one of those guys that they're just taking a flyer on. Maybe he has some upside. In the dirt, Molina has it. Westbrook covers. He's safe. Just willing that ball to come down was Yadier Molina. Smart base running by Reed Johnson. And it's now 6-1 St. Louis.
Well, you assume with the ball in the dirt that it's going to go all the way to the backstop, but just still in the dirt. And you saw how Yadi shovels this to his pitcher coming, but Westbrook is on the first base side. You would think if he's going to slide, you're going to want to be sliding on the other side of home plate. Tough to slide feet first and try and reach and catch the ball, but
so the wild pitch in the double play that was not turned leads to a Cubs run here in the 4th inning.
Since he scored a run off of Westbrook, it was unearned because of his own throwing error.
And this may be the same way.
And it'll be an earned run this time.
So a 2-out walk to Stewart. Brings in former Cardinal Joe Mather. Mather, a very good athlete. 6'4", 215. And a ground ball to Furcal, and this should get Westbrook out of the inning, and it does. But the Cubs pick up one on 2 hits and a walk. 6-1 St. Louis. Things just got serious here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals have scored 6 today. So any size drink tomorrow, just 50 cents all day tomorrow at your nearest On the Run at Mobile. This year, 6 is once again a serious number. Here's the giveaway today. The World Championship flag. A lot of festivities this weekend. Opening day Friday. Ring ceremony Saturday. Today, the pennants. And it's also Jackie Robinson Day.
I thought the ceremony on Friday was just outstanding. Ouch. Second hit batter by Mahalam.
This time it's Daniel Descalso. And Descalso, by the way, Al, now has an error. The play that he tried to make in the 3rd inning has now been ruled an error, and that's just a breaking ball that got away. So the hit to Marlon Byrd in the 3rd inning, we changed to an error. And a sacrifice bunt attempt looks like a good one, and it is. Gets the job done. Westbrook moves Descalso on to second base with the sacrifice. Cardinals with another chance. Runner in scoring position. It's Daniel Descalso this time. And Rafael Furcal, who's 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored, will take his turn. A lot of smiles in the Cardinals dugout, Al. They've been smiling all year. Off to a good start with the bat. 293 coming into this game. So plenty of things to smile about.
Well, you look at the schedule with all the Central Division opponents. That's great if you get off to a good start.
Right.
You know, and the Cardinals are trying to win their 3rd straight series against a Central Division team.
So we've decided it's not really a series when you beat Miami in 1 game.
Well, it counts on your record.
I mean, but is it a series win?
No, but
Why
it's
not?
not a series loss.
I'm with you.
But
I'm just trying to figure that out.
played them the first game, won there. Then they took 2 out of 3 at Milwaukee, 2 out of 3 at Cincinnati, trying to take the rubber game of this series. A 7-3 start would be nice, wouldn't it?
I think it's a perfect start for a new manager too.
Well, and also, you know, with the little nagging injuries that Mike Matheny's had to deal with, you know, this team just keeps on rolling along in a very positive way. Guys are getting their work in, getting, you know, the bench is getting plenty of assignments. We will, next road trip will take us to Pittsburgh and then Chicago. The Pirates are on a long West Coast, I think they have a 4-city trip before they come home next Friday. And I think they're 0-5 on the road.
So what have you seen from the Central, Al, now that we've had a chance to look at everybody really except the Pirates?
Well, I think the Cardinals, as we surmised, were going to be the team to beat. Milwaukee and Cincinnati have ball clubs that will, no one's going to really pull away from them, but I think the Cardinals are definitely better.
Shallow center field. Bird makes the play. We also have not seen the Houston Astros, though we did see them in spring training. They're off to a pretty good start for them, I guess. They're playing 500 baseball, so I guess they know it's going to be a long season.
You know, they played a little better the second half, and you know, they're going to be an improved ball club. They're no, you know, they would be shocked if they played 500 baseball, but they're a team that you don't want to take lightly. You know, anybody can beat you if you don't respect them.
Yeah, they might throw Bud Norris out there about 10 times against us. Tyler Green, RBI opportunity, line drive to right, but it's right at the right fielder Johnson. Cardinals don't score in the 4th. They still lead by 5. Tune in before the Cards-Reds game Tuesday for Toyota Cardinals Live. Every Tuesday, it's the old school baseball card tournament. This week, Mark McGuire and Mike Aldretti open packs and hope to see some familiar faces and move on to play in the next round. Cardinals Live Tuesday at 6:30, followed by the Cards-Reds at 7 on Fox Sports Midwest. Bottom of the order for the Cubs, Jake Westbrook with a 6-1 lead.
Activity for the Cubs, so they may be pinch hitting for Maholm. He's due up 3rd.
And he's thrown a ton of pitches. Westbrook. And a little late on that swing is Soto. And Soto's been an interesting study, Al. He seems like he has a good year, a bad year, a good year, a bad year.
And the unfortunate thing for the Cardinals, good thing for the Cub fans, is this would be his good year. Not off to that start yet, but Rookie of the Year. And, you know, he was a guy that really never showed the power in the minor leagues until the year before he got to the big leagues.
There's some of that power the other way. Long run for Beltran, and he runs out of room. It's off the base of the wall, and a leadoff double for Soto, and there is that good power the other way. 6'1", 220 is Giovanni Soto, and he gave that one a ride. You mentioned now, up until 2007, he'd never had more than 6 home runs in the minor leagues until he busted out with 26 his last year in AAA.
That's why I said when you looked at, you know, before 07, he really didn't have a distinguished minor league offensive record, and here right at the base of the wall, a leadoff double. Then in 08, he was the National League Rookie of the Year, and then never really lived up to that season.
Ground ball to the right side, and it's booted by Tyler Green, and that'll be an error. It's Cardinals' second error of the afternoon, and that was a very easy chance for Tyler Green, and he just booted it.
Oh, he missed a line drive yesterday when he tried to take his eye off it. Look at this. Does he look at the runner at third? Hard to tell from that. But just didn't look in the glove. It's what you were talking about earlier. Some of these young players, they want the ball hit harder because then they just react. When they have that extra time, they can get in trouble.
Maybe too much thinking there. David DeJesus, the former Royal, pinch hits for Mahala. RBI opportunity for DeJesus. Big swing there. He fouls it back.
And with bad weather in the forecast, this is a very important inning for Jake Westbrook. This would be a regulation game if the Cardinals maintain the lead after 4.5 innings.
Cardinals would like a double play here. Pop up on the right side. This won't be an easy play. In comes Beltran. He makes the play, and the runners can't advance. He doesn't have anybody to throw it to.
I was going to say.
Tried to hit the cutoff man, but there aren't any.
Well, I saw 42 out there.
Yeah, but none of them were in the cutoff position. Well, they teach you to hit the cutoff man, but you've got to have one. Conversation now with Yachty and Tyler Green, wanting to make sure they have the right guy covering second base in the event that Marlon Byrd takes off. He was caught stealing by Molina in the third. Soto's the runner at third on that last play, and let's watch him communicate with Pat Listash. Should I? Please tell me no.
Well, that was another reason why it was important for Beltran, the right fielder, to make that play, because he's got his momentum coming forward. An easy throw for him if he chose to come down the line. It's the second baseman or first baseman with their back to the home plate, then maybe you take off.
May have been wondering whether or not he should be halfway as well on that play. If Beltran catches it, no chance to score, but you want to make sure if it does drop that you do score. Reed Johnson is 1 for 2. He scored the lone Cub run. There's a ground ball to the left side, and this will just be an out at first base for Daniel Descalzo. No chance to get the lead runners. So a ground out, an RBI for Reed Johnson, and it's now 6-2.
Made too good a pitch, jammed him, and instead of possibility of a double play ball, he could only get the one.
But the inning should be over. Blake DeWitt hits from the left side. Slider almost goes off his back foot. Westbrook has pulled a few of those sliders down and into left-handers, and really looking for the right command of that pitch.
He has such a good sinker, you almost wonder why he doesn't almost exclusively go with that pitch, and maybe mix in more change-ups to keep a hitter off the timing of it.
Changeup comes and goes for him, doesn't it? There's times where he'll use it a lot, and other times he won't. The 2-0. There's that ground ball to the right side. Carpenter is going to take it himself, and that inning could have been a lot worse for Jake Westbrook. An unearned run, and it's 6-2 St. Louis. Celebrate and relive the 2011 championship with a commemorative poster on Tuesday, April 17th. Cardinals will take on the Reds. 25,000 fans will receive this champions poster courtesy of Shelter Insurance. 6-2 St. Louis, bottom of the 5th inning. Nice crowd. Decent weather here in St. Louis. After a couple of rainy days, and our Chevy call to the bullpen is the veteran right-hander Rodrigo Lopez.
Been more than 10 years in the big leagues. 81 and 88 career mark with a 4.82 ERA come in this year. Made 215 starts among his 253 games with San Diego, Baltimore, Colorado, Philadelphia, Arizona, and the Cubs. Second year with the Cubbies. During that last half-inning break, wind was swirling and a lot of paper, fragments flying all over the ballpark. Maybe an indication that rain isn't too far away.
And in looking at our pitcher as he is on the mound, all players wearing number 42 today. That is not Rodrigo Lopez. Slider, strike one to Matt Holliday. One strike pitch, misses low to Holliday. Holliday is 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the third inning. The Cardinals picked up 4 runs in that inning. The big hit, Yadier Molina, 3-run shot, just barely cleared the left field wall, but they all count, Al.
That's right.
And we'll see Holliday. Watch out, Mr. Holliday. We'll see Holliday, Beltran, and Molina here in the Cardinal fifth.
All running in there. I wonder if maybe this is Castillo.
I believe it is.
We will make sure of that, but if it is, he made his major league debut on Monday against Milwaukee.
And even if it's not him, that's true. Fly ball out of play. Full count to Matt Holliday. Holliday has really become a leader of this Cardinal team. Not just by what he's doing on the field, but he's become much more vocal in the clubhouse. Swing and a miss, and Castillo strikes out Matt Holliday. We're underway in the bottom of the fifth.
Here's Castillo, and mentioned that he made his debut. He swings at a ball out of the strike zone, a little slider. He's from the Dominican Republic, 6'1", 170. He's 22 years of age. And he began his pro career as an infielder in the Philadelphia farm system. Converted a pitcher to begin the 2010 season and claimed by Chicago in last season's Rule 5 draft, the 2011 Rule 5 draft.
He is on in relief of Paul Mahalam, who had a rocky 4 innings. Gave up 6 runs on 6 hits and really was not sharp.
Pretty good jump for this young man. As last year he was only an A ball. So
big jump.
Big jump. 4-2, 254 ERA in 21 games, 2 starts.
Wonder if Beltran has any pressure on his shoulder. Of course, he played in New York for a little while, so he certainly felt pressure before. He's a veteran player, but just to replace some of the power and RBI potential of Albert Pujols, you wonder if he feels as if he's got to produce big here in St. Louis.
I think he's too much of a veteran to make that mistake, and that would be a mistake. Just stay within yourself.
A 1-out walk to Beltran. What's on tap Tuesday? Kyle Loesch will take on his former team, the Cincinnati Reds. He'll hook up with Johnny Cueto, and he's off to a fast start. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser.
Cincinnati's hanging on to a 1-run lead at Washington. They lead 5-4 with the Nationals batting in the bottom of 7. They're trying to salvage 1 win in that series.
The first place Washington Nationals.
They're a much improved ball club.
Ryan Ludwig has a grand slam in that game. Former Cardinal. He did not look good against the Cardinals in that series.
You know how he's such a streaky guy. You know, he can carry a ball club, and then other times it's just trying to get a foul ball is tough. But that's one of the guys you still pull for.
Nats have had some big injuries, Al, by the way, and yet they're still 7-2.
Michael Morris.
There goes the runner. Pitch inside. Throw to second, and Beltran has his second stolen base of the season. Really good jump off of Lendy Castillo.
That's good to see that Beltran running is the knee feeling better and better. And there'll be games like today where, you know, maybe he will start when Alan Craig is healthy or Schumacher comes back, where he'll be in center field.
Good thing his foot was able to stay on the bag because his hand didn't. Nice view on Foxmo, brought to you by Mazda. So a 1-out stolen base gives Molina another RBI opportunity. His 3-run shot in the 3rd. The difference in this game. A big difference in this game.
Beltran's already scored 2 runs.
And Molina strikes out. You don't see that very often. So a couple of strikeouts in this inning for Castillo. He's gotten Holiday and Molina, but a walk and a stolen base has Beltran in scoring position for Matt Carpenter, who's 2 for 2.
Defensively, they play in shade to right field ever so slightly. The same a little bit in the infield.
The sun has broken out again here at Busch Stadium. Been in and out all afternoon. Pleasant afternoon for baseball. And strike 1 to Carpenter. Tell you, Al, game 1 here was worth the wait. The opening day ceremonies, the Hall of Famers, the World Series trophies, the way that was staged, I'm telling you, it was just marvelous.
I was talking to a couple of younger players and said, well, you saw Miami, you saw Milwaukee, but nobody does it better, and they were just in awe of what transpired on Friday afternoon. Really the entire weekend. And Ricky, I don't know if you saw the giveaway, the replica World Championship ring, but I think all fans were just pleasantly surprised with what a nice souvenir that was.
Part of the celebration yesterday. Today it's a pennant. Cardinals have outstanding giveaways all season long, and today, of course, we're celebrating Jackie Robinson Day. All players wearing number 42 today. One of the jerseys from each team in baseball will be auctioned off through Major League Baseball.
And when Major League Baseball first decided to, they kind of, not that they had any trouble, but they asked a few special people, would you wear the 42?
Here's a hard hit ball to center field off the bat of Carpenter. This ball is deep. This ball is gone. Matt Carpenter. 2-run shot. 8-2 Cardinals. Wow.
And we talked about what a difference a year makes. This offseason, he really decided I have to be more versatile to win a job here. I've got to start really driving the ball, and he does so with his first Major League home run, giving the Cardinals the 8-2 lead. But no doubt about this one, as he's dead center field, halfway up the batter's eye, and Matt Carpenter, he'll have another souvenir.
Fun to watch.
I was saying that I used to ask, you know, some of the African American players, would you mind wearing Jackie Robinson? And it got to be so popular where they just said, all right, everybody wear it. As all players were requesting to have to wear that honored uniform.
Ken Griffey Jr. had a lot to do with getting that tradition started. Jackie Robinson Day throughout baseball celebrated since 1997. Shane Robinson, who hit his first major league home run this week, strikes out, but Matt Carpenter did it also. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Taco Bell. Live Moss. Find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Nice view of the arch. Cardinals lead 8-2. Overcast day here in St. Louis. Some rain in the area, but so far it has avoided the ballpark, and the Cardinals have swung the bat very well here this afternoon. A couple of home runs, Yadier Molina and Matt Carpenter.
Got a new right fielder, number 42. It's Eric Komatsu, Rule 5 pickup, and you just hope it's because with the 8-2 lead, they put Eric out there and not something that happened to Beltran.
Starlin Castro bounces out, good speed, but Furcal throws him out. Another ground ball for Westbrook.
I think he's done a real nice job of getting his entire roster involved in the early going. Boy, in spring training, because a lot of the injuries to the veteran guys, or the fact that they guys were playing another extra month, the month of October. Young players like Komatsu and Shane Robinson, Carpenter, all these guys got a lot of at-bats, a lot of playing time, and they are very much in favor of Mike Matheny as manager of the year already.
Not imagine a better start for him, and some of the early games out, really not a lot of tough managerial decisions. They were games that were really kind of well under control. The pitching was good and solid, not really the difficult double switch decision to make in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, but he's going to have a chance to have those, obviously.
And you know, Mike Aldretti, who was the assistant hitting coach last couple of years, is now the bench coach. Now, he had a couple years at low A ball, I think, where he managed, but Aldretti doesn't have a lot of experience in that, but yet they're good, solid baseball guys that they're not going to get tricked or anything that's going to sneak up on them. Hammer, Chris Maloney, who did an excellent job of managing at Memphis the last several years.
They sure don't seem nervous.
Who, by the way, Memphis has lost 9 straight games. But Matt Adams just keeps on swinging the bat well. And Feliz, who's is 4th in the Pacific Coast League with a batting average over 400. Lilliquist had the benefit of working with Dave Duncan, really learning his system for better than half a year last year before Dave took the leave of absence. They're very comfortable and confident.
Full count to Jeff Baker, and it was good to hear Chris Duncan talking our pregame show with Pat Paris. You had a chance to see that, about how meaningful it was for him to see his dad out here at the ballpark. And Tony La Russa as well. There's a base hit to right.
I told Chris yesterday how much I've enjoyed him on the radio. You know, not only just talking about baseball, but all sports. He really has worked hard at it. And really happy that he's joined us on FSN. He'll be doing the post game with Pat Paris, and you know, we have quite a few gigs with us this year. We're happy to have him on board.
You bet. So base hit to right for Baker. He's aboard for Ian Stewart. And we talked about that year of Stewart last year, Al. Just 152. I mean, it's hard to have a worse year than that.
No home runs. I had a couple stints on the disabled list in the minor leagues. He's got to be happy with a new life here in Chicago. Kids are wearing the wrong uniform. Supposed to be 42, not 7.
Pretty good seats right there.
Pretty good name on their back.
You bet. Hard hit ball caught by Carpenter. Steps on the bag. Inning-ending double play. Not how you draw it up, but the results are perfect. Carpenter off the bag. Thank you very much. Fox Sports Midwest is pleased to join Girls on the Run to bring you the largest timed 5K race in St. Louis. Girls on the Run is a not-for-profit organization that helps prepare thousands of girls for a lifetime of healthy living. The race will be May 12th downtown. Register now at girlsontherunstllouis.org. 8-2 St. Louis, a 4-run third inning. Couple of home runs here this afternoon. And 8-9-1 for the Cardinals here in the 6th. Daniel Descalzo hit by a pitch in the 4th, and he bounced into a fielder's choice in the 2nd. Ground ball to the right side. Gobbled up by DeWitt. Out number 1.
Trying to pull that outside pitch and just roll over. A little ground ball to second. How about the job that Westbrook has done? He went 7 innings his first game. Only allowed 1 run. It was unearned, and he's got 82 pitches here today.
And the thought may have come up to pinch hit for him here. 8-2 lead. He's gone 6 strong innings, but really has at least another inning left in him.
Yeah, part of that I think is, you do want to get that pitch count up. And, maybe after 7 you say, okay, that's fine, and turn over the bullpen. And when your starters give you 7 innings, it just seemed like how many times that bullpen just is very effective. When your starter gives you 3 or 4 innings, and the bullpen, they'll do the job a few times, but you just can't do it that often to count for that many outs.
There's a base hit for Jake Westbrook. Maybe he does want that silver slugger.
Well, I'm sure he wants it. I just don't think he's going to win it.
He's just got to do that about 30 more times. All you do is put the bat on the ball.
No, it's called bail and whale.
The bail, then the whale.
It's not the stroke that you would teach, but it was effective in placement.
That is not an official way to swing a bat, bail and whale. That's not something we recommend. But it worked. For Call, the batter, he takes ball 1 from Lendy Castillo in his 2nd inning of work. For Call is 1 for 3, double and a run scored.
Castillo struck out the side in his first inning of work. He just happened to walk a man and give up the 2-run home run to Carpenter. See, these players aren't quite as comfortable in the batter's box when you have such an inexperienced pitcher. They find out real quick, oh, the guy's never pitched above A ball.
Right. Well, you just assume he doesn't know what he's doing.
Correct.
So that means you got no chance of knowing what he's doing.
And I think like Schumacher, who's going to go to AAA for his rehab, spent a little time down in Florida and goes, I don't want to face those guys that don't know where the ball's going.
Right. A little bit of fear. And he didn't know what he was doing. He actually worked from the windup on that pitch, with Rushbrook the runner at first.
If he did, why is not? Yeah, well, he's kind of a
side saddler.
Yeah.
Strike on the outside corner. Full count to Furcal. The Cardinals have an off day tomorrow, hoping to win the series here today against the Chicago Cubs. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with the Cincinnati Reds before they go off to Pittsburgh and Chicago for a 6-game road trip. There's a strike on the outside corner for call. Not sure about it, but he has to take that right turn. Your St. Louis Cardinals have done it again, Al. Helped them celebrate their 11th World Series title with the exclusive 2011 World Series Champions fan collection by Jostens. Shop online today at cardinals.com/rings.
Right outside our booth, they have a display table out there with all the different, from rings to pennants to money clips, cuff links, all kinds of things that Cardinal fans could get souvenirs, you know, in commemoration of the 11th World Championship. I had West with me yesterday. My youngest grandson, 4 years old, he got that ring. He thought that was the coolest thing. Whole ride home, he goes, I'd say, whose ring? He goes, mine, mine. He had it. He took it off, wearing it.
Isn't that what you say about your rings too, Al?
Mine.
Mine. Well, you and I both feel the same about those rings. The one strike pitch to Tyler Green, who lost his bat on the first swing, 1-1. Just grateful to be a part of the organization, and players are the ones that do the work. And excited to see them pick up their World Series rings yesterday.
And they're spectacular.
The 1-1 to Green. Fouls it off. Interesting that Green let go of the bat. Reminded me a little bit about David Freese. He did that twice this week. Either they're not making pine tar like they used to, or
well, we knew in David's
same
case,
problem with Tyler Green.
It was Friday afternoon, and we thought it was kind of curious, but then we find out with that finger problem, he was having trouble gripping the bat. One yesterday when he was out of lineup, do it again today. He and Berkman, little nagging injuries, and hopefully both of them will be back as early as Tuesday. Enjoy the off day tomorrow, but boy, it's nice when you can give regulars time off and you can still win games.
Cardinals trying to do that right here. 2-2 to Tyler Green. Tries to shoot it to the right side, but it's foul and into the stands. Green is 0 for 2, actually 0 for 3. He tried to bunt his way on. Actually tried to move the runner over in the third inning. Unsuccessfully, and there's the defense pinching him in left center and on the left side of the infield. With a big hole in right center. The 2-2 to Tyler Green. Ground ball to short. Castro flips the second, and that retires the Cardinals. They strand one more, but they lead. Time for our carsoup.com email the booth question. Today's question comes from Todd all the way in Dubai. How about that? Did Jackie Robinson ever win a World Series during his career is the question. And Al Raboski, as always, has the right answer.
Absolutely. 1955. Jackie Robinson and teammates won the World Championship a couple years before they made the trip to the West Coast.
Also think about the year they didn't win the World Championship when Bobby Thompson hit a home run and Jackie Robinson was playing the infield at that time.
I never met Jackie, but did get a chance to meet Roy Campanella.
Watch out. Jake Westbrook takes a line drive off his glove, but recovers to throw out Joe Mather, out number 1 in the 7th inning. All reflexes there for Jake Westbrook.
Well, they say that losing the 20 pounds has made him more athletic, and he needed that on that one right there. Mike Matheny concerned, but I think he got all glove. Right back at him, got right in the glove hand, and he races for it. Throws out our buddy Mather. Can't buy any luck, can he? Campanella, I think he won 3 MVPs before he was injured in a tragic automobile accident and confined to a wheelchair his last few years. Met him at Busch Stadium. I got a picture of Gibson and I, talking to him, and one of my treasures.
Dodgers a lot like the Cardinals, Al. They can roll out a lot of really good players. They'll be there in spring training just as the Cardinals do and be there throughout the season. Line drive handled by Descalzo. That ball was hit on the money by Giovanni Soto for out number 2. Reflexes.
Yep, reactionary position. All you have time is for one step and a dive. Here it's one step and fall backwards. Part of good pitching is good defense.
A couple of hard hit balls here for the Cubs in the 7th inning. Westbrook handled one, Descalzo the other. Now Marlon Byrd, who reached base on an error in the 3rd, and he reached base on the error in the 5th. Somebody catch this one. Descalzo and Tyler Green with errors for the Cardinals today, but the defense has been very good this year. Only 3 errors now total for position players for the Cardinals.
Did you remember a pitcher named Tommy Moore for the Mets growing up?
Don't remember him. Watch out.
Well, Tommy Moore was an outfielder and playing in the California League. Was hit in the face, and he was a top prospect, but got hit in the face and just never could swing the bat without that fear. And because he had such a great arm, he was an outfielder that they turned him into a pitcher, and he did reach the major leagues. But Marlon Byrd looks like he's going through a little bit of that.
Well, the vision for a player, and I always thought that you probably don't talk enough about how vision is an issue for an older player in general. I mean, we all know our eyes aren't quite as sharp when you get into your 30s, but I mean, to be able to see a ball, to see the spin, you have a half a second to react and then swing. And I don't think the umpire saw that one very well either. Marlon Byrd agrees with me, but it doesn't matter. It's a strikeout for Westbrook. 1-2-3 inning. Time to stretch. We have a new pitcher for the Cubs. They'll face Holiday, Beltran, pardon me, Komatsu and Molina. Komatsu is the new right fielder for St. Louis. And finally, the PA announcer has announced him already, and this time he means it. The veteran right-hander is our Chevy call to the bullpen. This is Rodrigo Lopez.
Now we've talked about Lopez being over 10 years of major league experience. Tossed a couple scoreless innings on Tuesday night. His contract was purchased on April the 7th.
Some other changes for the Cubs. Reed Johnson has moved from right field to center field. Steve Clevenger is the new first baseman. And we also have a new right fielder. Here's a line drive to left, and right at the left fielder Joe Mather, out number 1. That ball was stung by Matt Holliday.
He hit a ball hard, Danny.
Komatsu came in for Beltran.
This is the kind of a, people call it, kind of a forkball grip. Instead of really splitting the index and middle finger, he kind of throws it between the ring finger and the little finger.
Base hit for Komatsu. Lopez has always reminded me of kind of a poor man's Greg Maddux. Actually was his idol at one point growing up. There's a base hit. Komatsu serving it over the shortstop. Good attempt by Castro.
Matsu, they just like him. You know, he's got a little line drive stroke. Not played above Double-A. Rule 5 pick, so he must stay here or clear waivers and offered back to Washington.
Here's a line drive base hit for Molina. That's his second hit of the day. And 2 more base runners for the Cardinals against Lopez in the 7th.
3 hard hit balls. 2 base hits. There you see it right back up the middle. He's got the ducking part down.
All important part of pitching, Al. When in doubt, duck.
Yeah, but the ball was about 20 feet over his head, but
Matt Carpenter has had a big afternoon. Starts with him breaking up a double play at second base, and then on to the 5th inning. Showed some power. He already had a couple of hits in the game up to that point, but a big blast and some defense to boot.
And 3 for 3 and 3 RBIs, including his first major league home run, 2-run shot.
Breaking pitch, strike 1 to Carpenter. I think you made a really good point, Al, about Carpenter, Robinson, Komatsu. Their job to make it very difficult to say, you know what, we need you to go down to AAA. A little healthy competition to keep those jobs. When Alan Craig comes back, Skip Schumacher getting set to go on a rehab assignment.
I mean, it's going to be some tough decisions.
I agree.
And when you've done your job and you've made it that tough, even when you go down with a great feeling that you've left a very good impression. You just got caught up in numbers. The ball club kind of tends to tell you that, you know, hey, this is not the last time you're going to be here. You'll be back. But go down with the right attitude.
Attitude is everything in this game. Having a good swing helps too. $44,952 fans here at the ballpark today. Big attendance all weekend long.
Yeah, great attendance, all 3 sellouts. Rick, I was one that a lot of people were really excited about this team. I was more excited about this team than I have been in several years, and I think the start they're off to, you know, disappointing and probably picking up fans jumping on the bandwagon.
Nothing wrong with that. You bet. It's a fresh team.
It's different.
The 2-2 to Carpenter is fouled off. Down the left field line, they're giving chase, but they're not going to have enough time to come up with that one. That's the left fielder, Mather. Some faces are gone. It happens all the time in baseball. It's part of what happens from year after year. But when you have a world championship team and your manager's not there and the best player on the planet's not there, the Cardinals have done everything they could do to provide fresh faces and fresh excitement for the following year, and that's exactly where we are with this Redbird club.
Tony walked away from a very good ball club. Mike Matheny inherits a good club, and Tony left these players with a very good impression on how to play the game the right way. They were respectful of Mike, but they got their work in the right way in spring training, and the early starts paid off. Had the best record in the National League during spring.
And Tony deserves some credit for that.
Absolutely. That's my point.
Yeah,
you know,
he just probably more credit than he's been receiving for leaving when things were good, realizing that he's leaving an organization in good hands. Full count. Fly ball in the gap in left center field. This could be trouble, and it's down. A 4-hit afternoon for Matt Carpenter. Will score 2 more, and Carpenter slides into third with a triple.
Five RBIs. 5 RBIs on the day. Only lacks the double from hitting for the cycle. He's 4 for 4, 5 RBIs. And obviously this is going to build his confidence. Hanging breaking ball, cut off the bat of left hand here, is going to continue to slice away from Reed Johnson, the center fielder. He dives for it, and that just assured that it was going to be an extra base. Getting the triple.
He's trying real hard for the opportunity to talk to Jim Hayes after this game.
I think he won it. How about the Cardinal offense? You know, they just keep on swinging the bats. Another double-digit, not only runs, but hits. Mark McGwire didn't get enough credit for how well this offense swung the bat last year, and they've just picked up where they left off. Led the National League in runs scored, batting average, on-base percentage.
Castro throws out Robinson. And we talk a lot about tipping pitches. I wonder if Rodrigo Lopez may be tipping some pitches to the Cardinals.
See how he raises his index finger on a fastball. Now we can't tell whether that glove is blocking it or not, but little things like this, you know, are why people watch hours and hours of video.
Ground ball to the right side. Baker to Lopez. Retires Descalzo. Another big hit for Matt Carpenter. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to Pat Paris in our studio with this Bommarito Sports Update.
Ricky, thanks. The Reds and Nats this afternoon from the nation's capital. Former Cardinal Ryan Ludwig coming through with the bases loaded in the first. For the Reds, a grand slam off starter Russ Detweiler. Ludwig helping them to the early lead, but the Nats have battled back 5-5 now in the ninth. Ricky, Al, back to you.
Thanks, Pat. Top of the 8th inning. Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th, 1947. Jackie Robinson burst onto the scene. New Cardinal reliever here in the 8th is local St. Louis native Kyle McClellan. We have
new
a new catcher.
Tony Cruz, as Molina will stay in the game to go play first. And there you see Carpenter can't even get a day off. He can't even get a couple innings off. And I'm sure he wants to be still in this game. He's playing right field after his big offensive day. How about Kyle McClellan? He's appeared in 3 games. He gave up a 3-run home run in game 1 to Kataris, the backup catcher for Milwaukee, but he's pitched very, very well. A lot of good innings for Kyle McClellan his first 3+ seasons.
No doubt. Tough assignment here. Brian LaHare. Actually, they've changed the lineup again here as they put Clevenger in the 9th spot, and ground ball, nice play, and Clevenger is thrown out. Well, there's Tyler Green.
Well, he has so much talent, and he's such a great athlete, probably the best athlete on the team. And there's where example what you're saying, a ball that kind of has time to lay back on maybe gives him trouble, but here is athleticism coming to play deep on the outfield grass, dives for the ball, gets up and throws out a runner.
Reed Johnson bats with 1 out against Kyle McClellan, and our official scorer here and making the announcements in the press box is having a rough afternoon keeping up with all of the changes, and he's Made multiple changes today, and you can't blame him. Komatsu's taken over in center field. Carpenter in right. We've told you that. But the Cubs batting order is a bit of a mess right now. But we do know this is Reed Johnson.
We're not sure he knows where he's going, do we?
It's pretty funny, actually. Long foul ball off the bat of Johnson.
All you got to do is look at the roster and pick up the number.
Clevenger was originally on the scoreboard in a different spot, but he is now in the 9th spot.
There's Teddy Simmons. You know, the Molina.
Deep to center field. Back goes Komatsu, and it's off the base of the wall. And Reed Johnson has picked up a 1-out double against Kyle McClellan. He hit that ball very, very well to center. You want to be here in person? Next time you see your Cardinals take the field, just head to StubHub. That's all you have to do. It's easy to find the seats that you want to see Cardinals in action all season long. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals.
I always got to mention Ted Simmons. We saw that jersey there. And Molina last year when he hit 305 was the first catcher since Ted Simmons back in '73 to lead the club in batting average.
Blake DeWitt bounces out to Yadier Molina playing first base. Time for our trivia question here this afternoon, brought to you by AT&T. May 6, 1947, Jackie Robinson's first game against the Cardinals. Who were the 3 future Hall of Famers that were in the Cardinals lineup that day?
Pretty easy for our Cardinal fans.
I would think so.
Yep, Stan, Red, and Enos Slaughter. And apparently, you know, there was sort of a vote going around. As Cardinal players there was a certain fraction of the players that did not want to play that game. They didn't want to be on the same field with Jackie Robinson, and Enos Slaughter was one of the big voices, you know, a Southerner, didn't want to be on there. And finally someone came to their senses and asked Stan, what are you going to do? And Stan says, I don't know about you, but I'm playing. And once Stan Musial said he was playing, everybody else said, okay, we will too. But
very important part of that story. Curveball is strike to Castro. And the Cubs are doing defensively really what the Cardinals are doing with Molina playing first base. It's a way to keep your catcher in the game when you only have one backup catcher. Something happens to him, you're lost. So you keep your frontline catcher in the game, play him somewhere else, and that's what the Cubs are doing. They have Clevenger playing first base, and Soto's still behind the plate. But Cardinals trying to find a way to get Tony Cruz some at-bats.
I think sometimes managers really are so protective, trying to protect that backup catcher, and times don't use him. Tony Cruz has shown that he's pretty nice little pinch hitter. He also played 38 games last year all over the place and didn't commit an error. But all you need is somebody to finish a game.
Ground ball, tough chance for Furcal. Backhand, he can't get it out of his glove, but he's got no chance to get Castro anyway. So that's going to be an infield hit and an RBI for Starlin Castro.
Boy, when Ralphie still has a great throwing arm, but when he first came up, you know, you just love to watch him throw. And that would have been a nice little contest if he would have got that ball cleanly. So really reaching for the ball, gets rewarded. And he tried to, you know, from the outfield grass, he wanted to load up and throw this ball, but just thought the better of it. You know, you're 11-3 game. You don't want to throw that ball away. Castro was running hard down the line.
So Jeff Baker bats with 2 outs. He stayed in the game, went from first base to right field. They originally announced LaHare in the game, but Baker is the right fielder. 2-0 to the veteran. He's 1 for 3 this afternoon, one of 6 Cub hits. Cubs with a run in the 4th, run in the 5th, and a run in the 8th. Cardinal pitching's been very good. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. The 2-1. Ground ball, nice play by Descalzo. Gets the lead runner. McClellan out of the 8th. Nice crowd at Busch Stadium, and they've had a very happy afternoon. The Cardinal-Cub rivalry is one of the best in all of baseball, and only 4 times have the two clubs had new managers in the same season, and this is one of them. Dale Swaim and Mike Matheny at the helm this year. New managers, and you look at the list of managers there from the Cardinals side, it includes a couple of Hall of Famers in Billy Southworth and Whitey Herzog, who is here at the ballpark for opening day.
You see the 2 young managers, and Mike, the youngest manager in the big leagues at age 41. Catching position prepares you to be a manager better than any other spot. So much more involved in a game, working and handling the pitching staff.
Tony Cruz hits this one hard to center field and deep. Back to the track, and it's up against the wall. 1 pitch, 1 double for Tony Cruz.
Tony last year, as we said, 38 games with the big leagues, and he never made an error, but he showed that he could swing the bat a little bit. So our Nissan drive of the game as Tony gives us a ride to the deepest part of the field. Got over the head of Reed Johnson and 1 hops the wall. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you want to get his bat in the lineup. And, I can understand you're always concerned. As a pitcher, you don't like to throw to a position player trying to be an emergency catcher, but sometimes that's your best bat to help you win a ball game, and you're always saving it.
Rafael Furcal hitting against Rodrigo Lopez in his 2nd inning of work. Waves at the off-speed pitch. And now you think about Tony Cruz, Komatsu with a hit today, Carpenter with 4. Shane Robinson has been effective, and it is a problem, but it's a good problem to have, to say, what guy do we send out when the other guys are ready? I mean, it's no fun when you've got 6 guys you'd like to send out.
Yeah, when you've got ones that you go, how many can we send?
Yeah, that's right. Fly ball to left. Out number 1. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Burger King, the proud sponsor of opening week baseball. And by Schnucks Pharmacy, the smart choice. Tyler Green is 0 for 4. Cardinals with 12 hits here this afternoon.
How many times have they just had double figures in hits? Cardinals swinging the bat. 200 average for Tyler Green, but he's batting .333 against right-handed pitching this year.
Really a make or break year for Tyler Green in a lot of ways. Cardinals, no options on him. He's been on that AAA big league merry-go-round for the last time. They can't do that again with him. So he's either in or he's out.
And when you talk to his teammates down at AAA, particularly last year when he got sent out, he hit 320 plus. They said he was a difference maker. I don't think the ball club wants to classify him as a 4A player. But they would just like to see him relax and let his natural ability take over here at this level.
(10-3) St. Louis. We'll look at our Burger King in-game box score. A lot of big numbers on this. Matt Carpenter's number standing out, 4 for 4, 2-run shot, including a triple and a couple of singles with that, and Yadier Molina also with a home run. So production up and down the lineup, and we've seen that all year.
You'd like to see Carpenter have a shot for the cycle.
Hard hit ball to right, and it's deep but playable. Baker retires Matt Holliday. He's hit some balls hard this year without much luck to show for it. The hits will come for Matt Holliday.
Yes, they will. Hitters say they never even up, but over the course of a year, they probably do.
But every hitter would say it evens up for other hitters, just not for themselves.
Marte will get the 9th inning.
Eric Komatsu singled and scored in the 7th. First ball hitting again, this off the end of the bat, and play is made by Stewart. On to the 9th, and Victor Marte.
Cardinals lead at 10-3 as we go to the 9th at Busch Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Chris Duncan standing by. A solid outing for Jake Westbrook. They'll break it down and look back at the man who changed baseball, and that would be Jackie Robinson, and Mike Matheny's post-game thoughts as well. A big day for Matt Carpenter as we go back to the booth. And Rick and Al, guys.
Thanks, Jim. His day will only get bigger if he gets a chance to talk to you at the start of the game. We hope that we can hear from Matt Carpenter, and he has had a big afternoon, Al.
Yeah, well, we don't want him to have his another at bat.
No.
He's done plenty of damage. 4 for 4, 2 singles, one of them an RBI, his first play appearance, then a 2-run home run, and then a 2-run triple as Victor Marte will take over here in the 9th inning. He was picked up last Friday, or I guess the first game we saw in Milwaukee that Friday when Scott Linebrink, the veteran, went on the disabled list.
And what do you think of the upside of Victor Marte? How good can he be?
Well, you got to give him a little credit. He is 31 years of age, but he had 31 saves last year at AAA. He did have some prior big league experience with Kansas City, and he had a winning record, but yet he gave up a lot of home runs for it. Now, when you have 31 saves in AAA, you're serviceable, and not saying he's going to be a closer here with the candidates we have, but he can pitch in important innings, and even today, closing out a 10-3 game is always important.
There's a potential in some ways to maybe be a strikeout guy too in certain situations where you need a strikeout from the right side. He has pretty good slider, Al, but kind of that electric fastball, 94, 95.
You just wonder, with all the home runs hit, is it straight? There's the slider, that backdoor slider, then the harder one to put you away for the strikeout.
That pitch certainly not straight.
No, and why are you swinging at that pitch? You can't hit a 7 or 8 run home run.
Joe Mathers 0 for 3. Nice to see Chris Carpenter.
And I guess still really no answer as to when he'll start a throwing program. There is some improvement, but not enough yet to really start putting him on a throwing program. The way Lynn has pitched and the way the other starters, and they could buy some time for him.
Popped up. Foul territory. Who wants it? Daniel Descalzo. Cubs down to their last out. Our Budweiser player of the game is a no-doubter. Matt Carpenter, 5 RBIs today. The first Cardinal rookie since David Freese to have 5 RBIs in one game.
Whatever happened to Freese?
Things worked out okay for him.
I don't know if he can play in the big games, though. Cardinal fans have a little fun.
On their feet here at Busch. Giovanni Soto. Is the last man standing. Victor Marte trying to close out a series win for the Cardinals.
See the 93, 94 mile-an-hour fastball that he has, the slider. Imagine that slider was pretty effective in acquiring those 31 saves at AAA a year ago.
Ground ball to left side. Descalzo to Molina. And it's a Cardinal victory. 10-3. Jake Westbrook picks up his second victory, and Matt Carpenter is our star.
And Carpenter got to play all weekend with Berkman injured. You know, Freese last couple days missed, and guys filling in from there. Good team victory. Great pitching. Good defense, even though he made a couple errors, still was good defense, and a lot of hitting for Mike Matheny's club.
So the Cardinals win the series. Mike Matheny a winner here this afternoon. The fans go happy. 10-3 Cardinals. Carpenter, the star. Postgame is coming up next.
Cardinals take care of the Cubs in this weekend series, and Chris Duncan makes his 2012 Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live debut here. Afternoon baseball. Chris, a great weekend.
Great job by the Cardinals bouncing back after a tough home opener, and they end up taking the series. Great game today. Great job by Jake Westbrook.
More from Lil Dunk coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Also, how about the rubber game between the Cards and Cubs on a beautiful Sunday afternoon? We'll tell you why the Cardinals were able to win their 3rd straight series. Plus, Jake Westbrook making his 2nd start of 2012. Chris will tell you what it's like to face a sinker baller, and we'll take you back to Busch Stadium for Cardinal player reaction and Mike Matheny's post-game press conference as well. Plus, what we learned, it's Leonardo da Vinci's birthday, but if you want true genius, stick around. Chris Duncan's with us on Cardinals Live.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
There's a hard hit ball to center field off the bat of Carpenter. This ball is deep. This ball is gone. Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter with his first career home run on a career afternoon, powering the Cardinals to a 10-3 victory. Moments ago, our Jim Hayes caught up with Carpenter, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers player of the game. Jim?
4 hits, 5 RBI from Matt Carpenter. Big day, including your first major league home run, a 2-run shot, an 0-2 pitch. Talk us through that one.
You know, it's just one of those things. It's one of those special days. You know, you dream about when you're a young kid. Get a chance to do that here in St. Louis in front of these fans versus the Cubs. It's one of those dream come true moments.
0-2 pitch. What were you looking for? What'd you get?
You know, honestly, I was just trying to defend the zone. You know, take a short stroke, and he threw a fastball down and in. I just got a good piece of it.
The fact that you've been playing a little bit in the early part of the season, you were up last year. How are you a different hitter, better equipped to handle big league ball?
You know, I think it just comes with the experience of being at this level and getting used to it and kind of feeling like you belong here. Also, the work I've gotten done with Coach Mark McGuire and John Mabry this spring training is really it's been a lot of help with that aspect.
There have been a couple of injuries you guys have had to play through, and some of the lineups haven't been at full strength, and you guys still produce offensively. How much pride do you take in that?
We take a lot, having a good bench, being able to come in. We have a lot of guys off the bench getting hits today, and us being able to do that is definitely going to help our club.
Congratulations. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
All right, Matt Carpenter, we send it back to you guys.
Jim, thank you very much, and we officially welcome you now to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live after the victory today by the Cardinals over the Cubs, and they take the series with Chris Duncan. I'm Pat Paris. In a little bit, we'll get you back upstairs for a view from the booth. Also, going to hand out a Hung Award, and on this Jackie Robinson Day across Major League Baseball, we will remember the great career of the legendary Jackie Robinson. But we want to point out, it's the 5-year anniversary of your 4-hit game. Also, just like Matt Carpenter, this kid's really making the most of his opportunity, obviously.
The more I see Matt Carpenter, the more I like him, and he was really impressive today. It was really awesome to see him against the left-handed pitcher to really hang in there, stay on the lefty, and the first at-bat was outstanding. Runner in scoring position. There's no better approach than just trying to hit a ground ball up the middle, and Matt Carpenter does it. Next at-bat comes up against the left-hander, doesn't try to do too much, and he lines the ball the other way. That's a great approach for a left-handed hitter. But the most impressive one of the day, the jacker to right center field. And how about Matt Carpenter doing it with 2 strikes, 0-2 count. To me, as a hitter, 0-2, I'm thinking he's going to throw me an off-speed pitch, look for something up, maybe a breaking ball. Pitcher throws a fastball in. A lot of times he can freeze me. Not Matt Carpenter. He reacted. He drove that fastball way out of the ballpark. And the triple was amazing. How about the Cardinals getting all these triples?
5 in a row, 5 games in a row.
You know what, Pat? I think it's a credit to how hard these guys play. You look at them right when they hit it, they're breaking out of the box with good hustle, and Matt Carpenter keeps the streak rolling with his triple. How about that?
Yeah, triple. He's only a double shy of the cycle, and then showing a little grit. How about a little slide there as well?
That's the kind of baseball I like, Pat. You got to go into second base hard. Look at Matt Carpenter breaking up the double play. That's something that I looked forward to doing as a player, and I love seeing Matt Carpenter break up the double play. And some of the best defensive first basemen are guys that come over from third base.
Well, he certainly was good today. He was great today. Let's get downstairs. Mike Matheny addressing the media, brought to you by the Sheet Metal Workers, Local 36. Here's Mike Duff.
Opportunity presents itself, not always how we want it to, with Lance kind of being held up for a little while. I know he's feeling much better, but when that happens, somebody's going to have to step up, and I'd say Matt did a pretty good job of that today.
You said keep doing what he's been doing. I mean, you led the team in spring training with 20 hits. I mean, he's been doing this for not just this week. I mean, he's been doing it all ever since spring training started.
He had a strong season last year and a strong spring last year. I mean, we've seen him when he sticks to his approach have a pretty good chance every time he walks in there. And I think the thing you probably hear more from anybody in the staff and the players as well, just the respect you have for how he goes about it. He just puts his head down. He's constantly learning, trying to improve. He's been out there working at first base, trying to improve over there, and sticking with what Mark and John Mabry are talking about as far as an approach goes at the plate, and it seems to be working.
Do you remember what that exchange was like when you gave him good news in spring that he's going to be with this team?
Yeah, I remember all the guys who were kind of on the bubble, and I remember the bad ones too. So it was good to have a couple of those good ones. And Matt was one of the first as we started seeing how things were going to unfold with Skip going down and the opportunity to be there and the flexibility that Matt gives you at third base, which he hasn't even been to yet, which is kind of the idea of him coming in. And then we needed that player that could also play some first base, and he's done a nice job over there. But it was. It's a great reward when you see somebody come in and work as hard as Matt did, and then have the talent and the results to back that up to make that a pretty easy move.
What is it about his makeup that most impresses you?
I think he was just taught the game the right way, and I've told him that before. He needs to make sure he goes home and thanks his dad, and because he's a ball player, and as soon as he steps on the field, he wants to do things the right way, the way he hustles out. The way he runs out every ground ball, the way he's conscientious about what the next play might be, and he's always looking in case we're doing something as far as putting on a potential bunt play, or even at first base where he's not real accustomed to it. He's looking in the dugout all the time if there's a position where we think this guy might try to drag bunt. I mean, he's got his antenna up, but he knows the game, but then you have to have the ability. There's a lot of people with that kind of heart, but to mix in the talent that goes along with it makes him a kind of guy that you want to pull for.
What's the prognosis with Carp when he comes back? What are you going to do with Carp, Carp?
We'll see. Lance is our first baseman. We know that, and those things seem to work out where he's going to continue to get the opportunities whenever it happens. And with Lance and David both not feeling quite right, those are both two spots where Carp can fit in. Carlos takes a ball right off his forearm today. That's another spot. You keep putting the younger players in there, and every time we do, you're seeing something pretty good. You're seeing a Komatsu coming in swinging the bat. You get Tony Cruz, who hadn't had an at-bat in a while. We needed to find one. He comes out and bounces one off the center field wall. It's just whenever those opportunities seem to come around, the guys have been prepared. They've been doing their work, and they're ready.
Was it the forearm that led to changing Carlos, or was it just a switch?
No, it was a forearm. It just it tightened up on him. It got him right in the belly of it, and one of those things that made it. It never fails. As soon as you know you're kind of watching a guy, two balls come out to him in that inning where he just had trouble getting it in. The more it tightened up, the less he could really use his wrist to throw the ball in. It was more on the throws than on the swinging, but just one of those things. We had a little bit of a lead at that point and felt pretty good about getting Komatsu in.
Is it concerned being anything serious, or is that just a day-to-day kind of thing, or is it?
Where it hit him, I think it's it's more musculature than it is anything involving the bone, and it's going to be sore. I mean, so we'll keep an eye and add him to that list of. We'll just keep watching him.
Speaking of that list, how did Berkman and Freese qualify for possible duty on Tuesday? Especially Freese, how was he?
Well, they both came in swearing up and down that Tuesday's their day. So, we'll see what happens when they come in Tuesday and have the medical people take a look at him and take a look at both of them and just see how they feel at that time and continue to put them through tests. But Lance ran a little bit today, looked pretty good, and I think it was a positive step forward. So I know that he's close, and he's in there joking about we found our first baseman now. But he knows how valuable he is to this team, and we just want to make sure he's right.
How about Jake and his sinker today?
Well, I think the ground balls told the story. When you see that many ground balls right from the start, you can tell that his stuff's working the way it should. And he came out and I thought he was very efficient. It was nice to get him all the way through late in the game in sixth. And I thought that he was much like what we saw all spring long. And it was fun to watch him do that as he controls accounts and trusts his defense. And a couple plays not made behind him that he comes out and keeps doing what he was programmed to do. So that's the pitcher we saw in the spring, and he's just continuing to do a nice job.
Are you guys, as a team, really aware of what a big weekend this was for St. Louis sports with the home opening series and then the Blues playoff series going on at the same time?
Yeah. The Blues game last night was pretty fun to watch, and we were rewinding that one quite a bit. But it was a big weekend, and there was a lot of excitement going on, and it's good that the guys were able to keep their concentration and through two-hour rain delays, some ceremonies, some things that could certainly be distractions. They came out and played the game. That first game, the Cubs came out swinging the bat well. I think pretty good indicator of what they have the ability to do with the way Samardzija threw it and the way their guys came out swinging. We're going to have to keep. It's going to be a long season, just banging it out against those guys. But our players were ready to play, and they knew it was a big weekend, and I think they answered the bell and really enjoyed playing in front of this big crowd.
You're 10 games in, you're 7-3. You've won all 3 series. I mean, do you feel right now I don't want to say you could obviously won all 10, but I mean, is this about as good a start you could have hoped for at this point, or?
Well, we've been very conscious of not putting expectations beyond today, and walking in here today feeling that hey, we got a great shot. We got Jake on the mound, and we had 2 of the guys in the middle of our lineup that weren't going to be in there, but pretty confident with the players that we put in there. I mean, that's just kind of the feel that continues when positive things happen, and we know that that is a hard pace to keep up through the remainder of the season, and we're going to have lumps, but once again, I don't think you can understate how much it means to get this kind of atmosphere early on, and then that's the expectation. And when when that atmosphere isn't there, I think everybody in there realizes that something's not right, and let's get back to that. So it's nice to have, but I think we're all very aware. Much better to start this way than the reversal, but we're just going to continue to take it one game at a time.
Mike, how does your experience somewhat recently as a player affect how you try to A, keep the starters fresh, and B, keep the bench players sharp, if you will?
Well, playing the bench, being a bench player is not an easy task, and trying to keep them sharp, you don't normally see guys be able to keep their swings like they've been doing. And that, once again, I'm going to pass over a lot of credit to Mark McGuire and John Mabry for keeping these guys, one, sharp with their mechanics, and two, sharp with their approach. And they're going in with an idea that they know who they're going to face, and they feel prepared, and they're getting their work in between, which isn't easy to do. And it's been a conscious effort to try and get them in there and keep them in there. A guy, once again, like Tony Cruz, hasn't seen the field in a while, and you just need to let him see a ball out of a pitcher's hand offensively and on the defensive side, so he can get back there and feel like he has a rhythm catching. So none of that's easy to do, come in off the bench and when you've been sat down for a while, but I think it's just a positive remark to the work that they're putting in between starts.
Has Molina reached the point where you can ask the question, is he more valuable offensively or defensively?
The answer is yes. Yeah. So he's able to separate the two and realize it's just two completely different games for him. And when he doesn't have the kind of at-bat that he has, you would never know when he gets behind the plate. And to me, that's one of the true characteristics of a pure catcher. And he's as good as anybody in the game as far as separating those and constantly letting those pitchers believe that they are the most important thing in the world to him right then, and he forgot his at-bat. But he hasn't had too many that he's had to forget because he's been putting together some pretty nice swings.
How big was that throw out? The Cubs get their first runner on base, and he throws them out right away.
That's a momentum shift. Yeah, as soon as that happens, and Yadi's done that, I think everybody knows. But every once in a while, our pitchers will even get in the habit of maybe backing off a little bit, knowing he's behind the plate, thinking somebody doesn't run. And I know from the offensive side with us, that's the teams that we're looking and the situations and the pitchers we're looking for to try and steal a bag every once in a while. And they're going to continue to do that. But he can make up for a lot of things that the pitchers are going to miss because he's just so good with his quick release.
He showed increased power last year, 3 home runs already this year. Is there something with the development of his swing that with reason for that?
Yeah, I hope so. I think you watch, once again, I said this before, I mean, you just watch the way he goes about his batting practice. He's got a plan, and a lot of times it's staying inside the ball. The next time he's going to work on kind of getting his hands through. He really doesn't try to impress anybody but himself. He's working on things that only he knows about, but he's consistent with it, and he knows exactly what he wants to do when he walks up there, and wants to do the little things too, like getting runners over. But he thrives on those big situations with guys on base, and he continues to come through because I think he believes in himself before he ever walks up to the plate. All right, guys.
A lot to digest there. Certainly we'll talk about Jake Westbrook in a moment. A little later on we'll talk about Yadier Molina as well on his big day. But Matt Carpenter, certainly the story of the game. Our friend Tom Worf tweeting that Matt Carpenter is the first player in Major League Baseball history with 5 RBIs, 4 hits, a homer, and a triple in the same game in his first 15 games as a big leaguer.
And I think one of the big question marks coming into the season was the young bench. And then here comes Matt Carpenter making the most of his opportunity, doing whatever it takes to get in the lineup. He played third base most of his career. Now he's able to play first base. He went to winter ball. He learned how to play the outfield. And Matt Carpenter's getting an opportunity early in the season, and he's definitely making the most of it.
And if Carlos Beltran misses a game, say on Tuesday, well, we already know he can play right because Carpenter played right to end this ball game. Don't forget the tweet is on. Get involved in tonight's show. You can send us your comments or questions to @FSMidwest. Chris and I will get to those a little later on here on Cardinals Live. Still plenty more to come, in fact, on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. We'll talk about Yadier Molina and his sweet swing. Stay with us on Fox Sports Midwest.